Hey, it's Brian.
It's Barry.
And welcome to another episode of the Collecti-Bros podcast. On this episode, we are covering another console special. We try to do one of these once a year, and I decided to pick something that's weird, unique, kind of different, off the wall. It's the kind of things I like to collect, so I think this console is perfect for that, and we're talking about the Vectrex. Before we get started, I invite all of you to please like and subscribe on YouTube. It really helps us out. Also, please join us on Discord. We'll have that invite link in the show notes. First, before we get into the Vectrex, let's talk about what we've been playing. What have we picked up? I'll go first, yeah.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah. As far as playing, I've been playing a bunch of different shit. One of the big games I was looking forward to, we'll just start there because I'll probably spend the most time with it, and I don't want to take up all the time. Doom the Dark Ages, actually one we both played. I've got about 4 levels left, and I wanted to get through it, but I also didn't want to just blow through the game and be like, oh, my most anticipated game of the year is just done, you know? So I've been picking at it. Honestly, I'm loving it. There's things about this game that in the Doom community that's going to be decisive. There's no doubt. I mean, Eternal was really decisive when it came out. I know it's heralded as this great masterpiece now, and it's a great game. But me personally, I'm very much of a Doom traditionalist. And this game does a lot of different things also, but I definitely think I prefer this game over Eternal for a number of reasons. I don't want to shit on Eternal. That's not what I'm doing at all. But everything that's not supposed to work in this game works is the best way I can describe it. If someone told me there's going to be a shield and you have to stand your ground and block in Doom instead of circle strafing, I'd be like, I don't want to play that. That's not fucking Doom. This game does that, and it still feels like Doom. And I honestly think that's the magical thing about all 3 of these new Doom trilogy games that we got. Every single one of them's different, but it still feels like Doom. The heart and soul is still there. Doom 2016 is literally just hey, let's make Doom in modern times. You're circle strafing, you're running and gunning, you're switching weapons fast. Eternal was let's evolve the first-person shooter, let's make it fast-paced. You've got to balance your inventory, your health, your armor, your ammo. It was a really unique spin on constantly managing your inventory, right? This game does that too, but it adds the shield element and the blocking and the countering, which another thing I thought would be insane, but it works. I also love this game because it's the most accessible, right? Doom Eternal is hard. There's no bullshit around it. Eternal is really difficult. This game is too, but there's sliders they introduce, and it's kind of the most accessible Doom they've ever made. It's a prequel, so you don't have to play the other games first. You can just jump right into Doom the Dark Ages. I honestly love it. I adore it. I think it's the perfect length where it doesn't quite overstay its welcome, where it's not super long. What did you think about it? Because you've been playing it too.
Yeah, this is my first Doom game, so I have a completely different perspective on it. As far as the story goes, I don't really understand who the fuck the Doom guy is and why he's so strong. He just looks like a dude. The helmet comes off and he looks like every other white guy I've seen on the street. I don't know why he's so beefed up or whatever.
These new Doom games, they really tried to make a story, but do people play the Doom games for the story?
The story was interesting with the fucking. I guess I won't say much about it, but there's just introduction of things that make it seem like I'm supposed to have prior knowledge of, and I don't know what they are.
That's fair. Yeah.
So story, okay, no big deal.
It's not why we hear though.
Yeah, I like I said, I've never really played. I played Doom 2 a little bit, but not really anything that's relevant to say oh, this game was so different, because it's Doom 2. It's right. A whole 30-year difference damn near, right? I thought the shield was awesome. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine Doom without the shield, just because that's, this is my first Doom game. So I was oh, the shield and the throwing it with the chainsaw and the blocking was really cool, in combination of if I throw this chainsaw shield and basically stun this enemy, what gun am I going to use to just completely eviscerate him? Or if someone's hey, bugging the shit out of me, it's okay, let me go stun this guy while I take care of the other ones first. Or just being able to jump and then shield bash across the map and just blow 20 dudes up at the same time.
So satisfying.
Half the time I was just smacking people with the shield. I wish there was a melee attack with the shield instead of just throwing it or blocking.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I thought it was really the game is really fun. I mean, I beat it in 16 hours, and I played it on easy mode because I don't care. Because I just want to enjoy the game. So I was just like, all right,
God forbid,
easy. Slid it on the easiest mode. Let's just like shoot stuff. The exploration was fun. It had me going back and 100%ing levels before I would go to the next one. Like, that's just what I did to play this game. I didn't be like, oh, I'll play the game and then go back. It's like, no, we're not moving on to the next chapter until I get all the collectibles.
Yeah.
So that's how I played the game. The exploration was, I want to say it was easy, but it wasn't. There were some things on some of the levels where I was like, how in the fuck do I get that?
I got stuck on a couple.
Like, some of the puzzles where I was like, how in the fuck would anybody have known where that was? Or how to do that? I don't remember what exactly it's called, but the cave where you go inside and it just circles forever and ever and ever.
Oh, yeah.
That one was really cool. It was very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
I think it was a nod to Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Just spinning over and over and over and being like, oh, I need to go the other way.
Well, not to get into the spoiler territory, but like adding, quote, the old one into Doom was like such a perfect like fit.
Yeah,
so cool.
for especially for Dark Ages.
Right.
Thematically, this game was great. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that this was going to be like a cybernetic futuristic medieval game. I thought it was going to be like a medieval Doom game.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what's all these lasers and these aliens and shit? What's going on?
Still feels like Doom.
It's futuristic Doom with like a coat of let's all play swords and boards. 100% the most disappointing thing about this though is there was not a sword.
Yeah.
Like, you gave me this club mace. I want the sword.
It's because Doom Eternal has the sword.
Then who cares? Give me the sword.
They should have at least been like, oh, hey, because that's the whole thing. Like, the whole story of Doom Eternal is like, hey, we need to get this sword. It's like the ultimate weapon to kill. It's how you become the Slayer, basically. So I get why they didn't do it, but yeah, dude, it would have been sick to have like a big ass two-handed broadsword.
No, having a big ass sword because he's so strong, he doesn't need a two-handed weapon.
Oh yeah,
he's got the shield in the other hand, and you just ride around on the dragon.
Would be nasty.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh, the dragon was cool too.
The mech combat and the dragon shit was mid at best. It wasn't really that good. It was kind of one of those chapters where I was like, okay, this chapter just feels like a break from constant action. So the mech stuff was just 1-2 punch, maybe get a couple rockets. There wasn't really anything.
You had like the minigun, but it was like, man, I want like beam rifles and shit. Gundam. Give me that Gundam Doom fantasy.
And then even then, it wasn't like, okay, let me outfit my mech. Yeah. It's just you have dropped into the story and just go punch big titans. Right. And then the dragon was fun to fly around, but there wasn't really much else other than like fly, whatever, chase the fucking ship and try and blow it up, or hold the trigger and just dodge, I guess. So
like quick dodge,
yeah, it was basically quick time events with the counter button.
The fact that they've added anything like that in the Doom and it remotely works is just wild to me. Because I first saw the dragon, I was like, oh, this thing looks awesome, and it's like, is this going to work in a Doom game? But it totally does. Like
I mean,
said,
I would disagree. It is filler, and it's kind of, it feels like a lazy, like, it feels like lazy filler, where it's like, all right, fly around and then lock onto this thing and just shoot it until it gives you a green attack to dodge, and then shoot it with a laser. Like, it was pretty lazy.
It's simplistic, and it kind of fits with like the whole counter and dodge mechanics of like on the ground, but
I mean, not even then. It's not like I'm flying around because the attack with the dragon doesn't do no damage unless you get past that. Like, you have to dodge with that counter in order to actually do it. So it's not like I'm using any other weapons on the dragon and then hitting a counter attack that does more damage. I am forced to counter and sit there and wait until a beam. It's like a red. Oh, there's the green one that I can dodge now. Like, oh, there's the one that I need. Yeah. Let me just dodge left and right.
I like the dragon shit better than the mech shit, though, for sure. The mech shit was... It's not a perfect game, but like it scratched my Doom itch for me. Another one of my issues I do have with it's like Doom Eternal puts such an emphasis on like you have to use this weapon on this enemy, and you constantly had to switch your weapons because of that. You had to master everything, basically. This game, as soon as I got the shotgun like maxed out, I was like, why would I ever use a different gun? Like, it's going to drop armor for me when it sets them on fire. Like, why would I use a different gun? Unless I'm trying to complete the master challenges, and I'm like, all right, back to the shotgun. That was the weapons were a little disappointing in this one. There's basically not as many weapons, but you get, for example, you get a shotgun, then you get the super shotgun. They're under the same tree. So you get the same type of weapon multiple
I
times.
mean, there's still like 12 weapons.
Decent amount, but just like for Doom.
And then 3 melee weapons.
Yeah, that was cool. The mace was pretty sick. I like the mace.
I didn't use it.
Oh, what did you use? The fist?
Yeah. The mace was just... I use the melee for ammo.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to get a one-hit shot and then have to wait so long for a cooldown, I can't keep getting that ammo.
Oh, not the big mace. I used the mace before that. The one with like the ball on the end of it.
The flail?
Yeah, the flail.
Yeah. The flail was cool.
Yeah, the main mace, the last one was disappointing because it's just a big heavy stick basically.
And even then, it didn't even one-shot some of the enemies.
Yeah.
So that was pretty disappointing.
And it gives you full ammo, but like, okay, if you get 3 shots with the flail, I get full ammo also. So why would I just use the flail?
And I can get it to recharge faster.
Right. Yeah, it's got some flaws, but like honestly, I love it. I already know it's gonna be one of my favorite games of this year. Like it's more Doom. They hit the nail on the head as far as like making it feel like Doom. And that's what's important to me because like I think Hugo Martin's done a great job of like trying new things in a different series and like this. When you think about it, it's like, oh, medieval aspects with Doom works great. And then they added some shit to the lore. They added some shit that leads into like Eternal in 2016. Like I got everything I wanted out of it. So I'm super happy. There's DLC coming too. I'll definitely play that. As far as pickups, I got the premium edition of Doom. So excited for that. Really quickly, other things I've been playing. I've been playing First Ascendant. It is basically Warframe meets Destiny. It's a free-to-play game. What can I tell you? It's okay. It's not bad. Played it for like 20 hours. It's a good time killer. They have a new PS5 Series X version coming out. So it is what it is, man. All these games are identical. I'm not going to waste a ton of time talking about it. Seriously, if you played one, you played them all. It's like when you start up, it's like, hey, you like this? Cool, pay for it. Or you could sit here and grind for 20 hours and you can get it for free. That's the game. The shooting's fine. The graphics are good. I'm not going to waste a ton of time. You played one, you played them all. And then lastly, I started playing Rust. Again, another one they're doing dedicated Series X, PS5 SKU on. I don't love survival games that much, man. Like, I don't get the
Not PvP survival.
Well, in this one too, it resets every week. So like you sit there and you build your base, you make it awesome, and then you know you're going to lose it in 6 days. Why would you keep playing? Like, someone please tell me what's the hook.
That's why the guy bunny hops through the woods and blows everybody else's shit up.
Yeah, and I've had so many crazy moments where it's like people, this is all they play. Like, I built this house up and I saw a dude like bunny hopping through the field with a bow and arrow with dynamite on the end of it. And I was like, what's this guy doing? Saw my house, just blew it up and ran away. Didn't even steal my loot or anything, just blew it up. And I'm like, that's the community in a nutshell. You're just basically constantly fighting one of the most toxic communities I've ever seen in my life. And then you know you're going to lose everything in a week. That's one I can't really wait till it's over. Like, I don't get the allure of this game at all. I know it's popular with streamers and stuff. I think it's because it's just trolling the game. Like, literally, I think that's why people enjoy this. It's not for me. What have you been playing?
Are we doing pickups?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot. I got Doom, and then the other thing I did pick up, it's kind of interesting. It's called Big Air Freestyle on GameCube. It's a motocross game. And the reason why it's interesting is because it has a demo for Godzilla, the Godzilla GameCube game. What's it called? Destroy All Monsters Melee or whatever. Yeah, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so I saw the Godzilla plastered all over it, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing. I guess I kind of need this. It was dirt cheap. So I picked up my dog's medicine also. That's pretty much what I've been picking up. Yeah. What about you? What have you been playing? What'd you pick up?
Pickups. We just talked about the remastered episode, and I ended up finding the Tomb Raider trilogy.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And it's the Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, which I don't have any of those. I used to have Legend on the PSP, but I've never played the other two. So I ended up picking up that one, and then leading into what I've been playing, I picked up Real Fishing, Real Fishing 3, and Real Fishing Days of Summer.
Nice.
So I've been playing Real Fishing Days of Summer. I think I'm like 20 hours in at this point.
Oh wow.
And I can see the end. Like there's a fishing. Basically, this is a Natsume game, and they're the ones that make like River King. I don't think they made Harvest Moon. Is that them? Serious Fun. Yeah, Harvest Moon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, Harvest Moon. real fishing. So basically, this game in a nutshell is you have 3 characters, and they're all like going to one of their like uncle's cabins for summer to do like a final summer project for high school before they go to college, and it's just like 3 friends, last hurrah, let's go fishing. And one of them is like primarily like good for fishing, the other guy like crafts stuff, and then the girl cooks because we can't seem to get out of gender norms. So they all have like their own skill trees to unlock, and like you level them up as you fish or as you cook or as you clean shit, as you cook and as you craft. And you can go to the store and buy materials and craft lures and rods and reels, and then you level them up to unlock more stuff to unlock or fish. Like you can't progress in the game without unlocking some new lures to catch that specific fish, because you can catch each area. I'm getting ahead of myself. So it's like you have all these people and they have a little cabin. And so it's, you wake up, you do some stuff, you go out to fish, and there's 4 areas in the game. And you start off in like the mountain area, and there's like the upstream, midstream, downstream. And then in each little area, there's places to fish, like next to logs or by a waterfall or under the trees. And you have to talk to NPCs in the parking lot to like tell you, oh, you should use this lure, or you should try and catch this fish in this area. Then you go to the area and you're like, oh, this one's supposed to be under the tree shadow in the waterfall. So you cast over there and you have a higher chance of getting that specific fish if you use that specific lure. And then you catch those fish, and there's like size restrictions too, where it's like you need to catch a fish above X amount of size in order to progress the story. So it's a lot of rinse and repeat, and there's side quests and there's challenges. Like you have to catch specific fish with specific gear, and you can't do the challenge unless you've unlocked it and like crafted it. So there's a lot to do. The fishing is all quick time event though. And it was cool at first, but it wore itself out so fast. Like so fast. I'm at the point where I'm just holding the trigger and you hit left or right. And then when the fish jumps out the water, there's a little up, down, left or right, and a little spin, you hit X. And that's kind of like it.
As a master Black Desert Online fisherman, I don't mind the quick timing.
So, but it's just like that, fish after fish after fish. And the quick time reeling makes no sense, because you're supposed to like reel slow or reel fast, right? And the faster you reel, the more stamina you get taken. But there'll be times where I'll hit every single quick time that comes up, and the fish little string line will go lower, and then all of a sudden it just shoots all over the other screen. And I'm like, I'm still reeling. I'm hitting all of the events. I don't understand like how this fish is stretched out again. So sometimes it turns into like 3-4 minute battles of just catching one fucking fish. And I'm just like, my trigger finger, man, I have to switch fingers and use the other. And I'm just like, man, this sucks. So at this point, I can only play it for maybe an hour or 2 at a time. And then I got to get off because I'm like, I can't fucking catch another fish. I can't do it. The fish animations are good. And there's like an aquarium where you can catch them, and you put them into the aquarium, and then you can view them every day. And the more you view them, the bigger they grow. And then they don't grow any bigger. There's just a bar you fill up. Yeah. And then once the bar is full, you release it into the wild. And once you've released that species of fish, you have the ability to catch larger ones.
That's cool.
So some of the challenges where it says, oh, you need to catch a largemouth bass, but it has to be above 80 centimeters or something like that. Most of the time, some of those you can't catch them in that size without releasing it.
Gotcha.
But at the end of the day, it's catching it, throwing it in the aquarium, and then just viewing, going to sleep, waking up the next day, viewing, going to sleep, waking up the next day, and then just doing that, because you're not on a time limit.
Interesting.
So you just go to bed whenever you want to. The idea is you go out and fish, and then you get fishing points that you can spend at the store to like buy materials, buy food, buy all this other stuff. But I'm like, I need this fish to get bigger. I can't progress, so I'm just gonna sleep.
Wake up, be the fish, go to sleep. Fully that word easy.
So, it runs pretty well. I mean, I've had some hiccups. If the fish gets too big for the screen, it does that thing where it hits the side and just goes, and like freaks out. But I mean, other than that, like, it's a fun game.
There's things I like about the real fishing game. I like when you catch it, it shows like a real picture of the fish. Like, that shit's cool.
Yeah, that's like once you catch it, like depending on how big the fish is, you either hold it up with your hand, you have a little clamp that you hold it up with, or it's just holding it in your arms and the fish is just wiggling.
Yeah.
And there's been times where the fish is so fucking big that you can't even, like, his head gets cut off and it's just a fish like wiggling on the screen.
Amazing.
And then the picture, like they'll lay it on the rocks, or like if you're on the ocean fishing, it'll be like looking like it's on a boat.
Yeah.
And sometimes the fish is cut off in the picture.
Oh, really?
Like half the fish is gone because it's so big.
Damn.
So there's things I like about this game. It's a fun little time where it's like, oh, I'm gonna fish for a little bit and then like go play Marvel Rivals, I guess. So
yeah.
That's what I've been playing.
Nice.
3 minutes in a nutshell.
Nice. Look at us. You playing fishing games. What's happening?
So I've been playing that. I already, I beat Doom before Brian even played it, and I said, "Hurry the fuck up, bro."
I started it. I got delayed for a week because of some stuff, but yeah, I've got 4 levels left. I'm probably gonna knock it out.
Yeah, Brian. All Brian's been doing is Power Wash Simulator.
Actually, that one
First Ascendant,
took a step back.
Rust. That's it. That's all I've seen you play.
Yeah, all these damn server closures, man. The good news is after these are done, it's just like literally 1 or 2 games, and it's like I get to play what I want. What the fuck is this? Freedom? Get to play what the fuck I want.
You can do that anytime.
True. But I'm really close to 1 million. I'm 2,700 gamer score away from 1 million. So that's the next quest. There'll probably be some videos and updates with that kind of thing coming. So
and then I also have started My Time at Sandrock.
Oh yeah.
So I played My Time at Porsche and I really like it, and it was definitely a whole lot of jank. So now with their second game, it is vastly improved.
Nice.
I don't like the setting as much. It's set more in like the desert, and water is hard to come by, and trees, like you get, if you cut down trees, they fucking hate you. They do. So you can't, like, to get wood, you have to find wood piles, so it's harder to get, like, materials. And then they've changed it. My Time at Sandrock is kind of like a crafting sim, I guess, where you wake up, you craft stuff, you take on some commissions from the town, you go talk to people, you grow your relationships, you go out, you gather materials, you can go into a deep dungeon cave and, like, mine, or craft weapons to go fight little monsters or whatever. It's basically a crafting game. Mm-hmm. So the change they made in this one is all of the machines that you need to run, like the furnace or the grinder, all are tied to like a water tank cooler thing where you need water to run them. So not only do you need fuel to run them, but they have to be cooled because you're in the desert. So you have a huge water tank, but water is hard to get.
Because you're in a desert.
Because you're in a fucking desert. So there's some things where I'm like, we made this a little bit too specific and too hard. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed Porsche a lot more, but the improvements of this game are very noticeable. And they have a third game that they're working on, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, My Time at something. It's a My Time series. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on the home screen whenever you open it up. So I've been playing that one on my Steam Deck. Whenever I'm like, oh, I'm going to lay in bed. And the second, like, I get in bed, and then I turn on the Steam Deck, and I play it for about 5 minutes, and I'm already tired. I can't play games in bed. I just instantly, the second I get in bed, I want to go to sleep.
Anytime we do the handheld games for, like, the podcast, I try in an attempt to spend time with Sherry. I'm like, oh, I can play this in bed. And it's like, all right, I'm going to sleep after like an hour because I'm so tired.
Yeah, if I'm sitting on the couch, like I'll play the Steam Deck for a bit and I'll be okay. But sometimes, like, depending on how I'm laying, I just start nodding off. Like, something about going horizontal is just the melatonin straight to the dome instantly. Like, it's
that, and then I'll have like a dog or one of the cats or all 3 of them jump in bed, and it's like, all right, I guess we're going to sleep. This is how it is. Whenever something cuddles me, I'm like, this is over.
I've seen that thing where if you do other stuff while in bed, it's harder for you to fall. Like people who like watch TV while they're laying in bed, or they like do other activities, not even just like watching TV, or maybe if you read or like other hobbies while in bed, it's harder for you to go to sleep because your body is like, this isn't the place to go to sleep. Right. I don't do shit in my bed except sleep, right? I wake up in the morning and I get in my bed and I leave that room, and I don't go back into my bedroom until I'm ready to go to bed.
Unless I'm taking a nap, the only time I do.
I rarely take naps. Right. If I'm taking a nap, I'm probably sick. I'll go back in my bedroom to like change my clothes, but I don't do shit in my bedroom.
Right.
Some people, that's all they like. Their bedroom is where they do stuff.
Right.
I can't do anything in there. Same. I'm going to my office.
I'm waking up to play games. See you, Sherry.
Yeah, so I don't have a TV in there. I've had a TV in there before when I was sick and I like couldn't get out of bed. But that's really the capacity. Like once I go to bed and I lay down and I got that Pikachu, I'm out. I'm sleeping. I'm done. 7 minutes.
I got a TV in my bed because I watch like YouTube and stuff on the weekends when I go to sleep. But yeah, it's pretty much turn it on and just like, all right, I'm gonna doze off in the middle of this. And I've got an Xbox in there, but that's because when Starfield came out, Sherry was like, I miss you. Can you please, if I buy an Xbox, can you please come to bed and play it? I did it a couple times, but that's how I got a third Series X. It's fine. But
Jesus.
Yeah, she's a keeper, bro. All right, the Vectrex. Let's talk about it. First off, what is it? It is a second generation console. So you got to think this thing was competing with the Atari 2600, the Odyssey 2. But this thing, if you saw it in the lineup, it's going to stand out, right? The biggest thing is you don't need a TV to play the Vectrex at all. It's got a monitor built into the console itself. So the best way I can describe it, the console is a monitor with a controller hooked up to it. It's the only console ever made that's ever had a TV display built into the console. And another really cool thing about this...
Wasn't there a Nintendo?
The Sharp?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like for... That wasn't like a wide release for like a retail. That was a like made for hotels and stuff to rent games. So I guess technically this is the only retail console with a monitor built in. Let me rephrase that. We be accurate around here. You right. But that TV, that monitor specifically, super interesting because it's the only one that's ever released with a vector display. So like everything else you'll have, pixels and all that. This doesn't. This is what's using a vector display. And if you're going to ask what that is, I am not a tech guy at all. But what I can surmise is that you're basically using lines to build your image instead of pixels, right? So think of an example, like just for a visual aid. Obviously, you can see our video if you're watching on YouTube. But if you go to like an asteroids cabinet and you see those white lines and it looks kind of like a freaking laser beam, that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're dealing with.
How I understand it is most of the time like LCD, like they read left to right.
Mm-hmm.
And they read left to right down lines, where a vector operates like a linear map where there's like an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. And so once it registers like where that coordinate is, it draws a line to that point to another point.
And it can make that image anywhere instead of left to right's a cool thing, right? So it could be...
Yeah, so it can go right before it goes up, before
Right.
it goes down. It doesn't have to wait for it to screen top down to bottom. It can draw in any orientation depending on when those points are put in.
Right.
That's how I understand it, is it's like a graph.
Exactly. That's a
So-
great way to put it, yeah. But there's no grid on the screen or anything. Like
No.
the shit just appears and it's kind of wild and kind of crazy. It's honestly, it's something that you can't truly appreciate until you see it in person. Like sitting here and telling you about how cool and crazy it looks doesn't really do it justice. Other examples, if you guys are into arcade games and stuff, like Tempest is a good example. It's all vector based. The original Star Wars arcade is another one that's like perfect. It's literally just lines across the screen. It looks really unique. It stands out. There's nothing really like it. There is some upsides to having that vector display, right? There's a lot of things that you don't get as a result from what you don't get aliasing, you don't get pixelation. It doesn't have pixels at all. So like it's a really unique technology, and this is literally the only way to see it on a home console. So let's dive into the history of the Vectrex. I think it has a really interesting creation. So the Vectrex was created by a team at Smith Engineering. Basically, one of the guys there, he was messing around with a 1-inch CRT, and he was like, "I wonder if we can make like a video game or a display on this thing." So like, let me take a crack at it. Smith Entertainment, they were trying to like license this thing, right? They weren't in the video game business. They were like, let's make this technology, let's try to sell it, like let's get rich. This is what companies want to do. Especially back then, like video games were kind of a new market. They weren't really, it wasn't what it is today where it's established, right? You had Atari, you had ColecoVision, you had your big contenders, but everybody was still trying to get in and come with the new, this is pre-NES. This is pre-Nintendo. So the market was kind of wide open. So licensing was kind of the play here. Obviously, there was a huge rush at the time to have like arcade games at home. That's what Atari 2600 like built its bread and butter on. So they were like, hey, if we had this thing stand out, we could like sell it as a miniature arcade that you can have at the home, which, I mean, sounds awesome, right? That would have been huge back then. They kept trying to shop that idea around, and every time they met with investors, they'd be like, this display is too small. Like, we've got to do something about this. Let's make it bigger. So eventually they settled on a 9-inch screen. And the Vectrex was eventually licensed to General Consumer Electronics, GCE for short. If you see that branding on the console, that's why. Ended up releasing in North America in October 1982, Europe and Japan in 1983, where it was released by Bandai, which is pretty cool. Also in Japan, it had a really badass name called the Lightspeed, which I think is probably one of the coolest names of a console ever.
That is
like,
pretty cool, yeah.
That shit's so fucking cool. And if you guys know your video game history, the years I said, it doesn't forebode well for the Vectrex. Yeah, if y'all don't know, that was the year of the video game crash. The industry just imploded on itself. There was basically too many different SKUs out, too many manufacturers. There's no quality control. So there's just, you think like the Wii had bad shovelware, like the Atari 2600 has some of the most atrocious, like anybody could just make a game on it and release it and it would be dog shit. There'd be no quality control. So consumers were getting screwed. But that's the thing. It wasn't even just like the Atari. Everyone wants to point the finger at the Atari because it was the biggest console at the time. But you got to think how many clone consoles there were. There was consoles, 4 consoles. Like it was insanity. But I think it's some crazy stat, like the total sales from 1983 dropped like 94% or something astronomical. Like all the big companies went under. But yeah, the Vectrex released literally a year before then. So it literally had about a year to try to get itself some footing. So the Vectrex retailed for $199 back in 1982. And if you put that in today's dollars, we're talking $650.
What?
It's PS5 Pro price here.
Yeah, but you get a TV.
That's true.
That you can only use for this, but you know.
Right. So maybe you're trying to see a little bit why maybe you haven't heard of a Vectrex, the year it was released, how much it cost. There's a lot of things working against this thing. All right. That's all I'm gonna put it like that. Y'all want to bitch about the Switch 2? Imagine spending $650 back then. But yeah,
it didn't.
That's the thing, man. Like, it's really interesting because they weren't really fazed by the price because they're like, yeah, everyone else is selling consoles. We're selling an arcade machine you can use at home. And you kind of put it in that regard. You think of the price of like an arcade 1-up. What are those? I don't remember how much they are. I've got 2 of them, but I don't remember.
$200 maybe?
I think they're more than that. I think they're like 3 or 4.
I don't think they're that much.
The deluxe ones I know are like 6 or 7, which, yeah.
The ones where it's like the 6...
And you get the stool and shit.
4-player, 6-player, or whatever.
I think they're like $300 or $400. But even then, if you put it in that...
Who puts those out?
Arcade 1-up. Yeah, look really quick. Fuck. I know they're having some trouble right now. Much like the Vectrex.
Look, the pack... Oh, wait. I'm trying to find one...
It's not deluxe.
The Turtles one is $300.
That's not bad.
I'm trying to find the one that you have.
I've got the Mortal Kombat 2 and the Asteroids Deluxe. They're like the first ones that came out.
Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe?
It's not the deluxe one. It's the first one.
Oh, I was about to say.
It's
holy
older,
shit.
so it might be harder to find. But yeah, the Turtles one's $300 at Best Buy right now. Like, pfft, okay. So yeah, in the scheme of things, that's the thing. You're stuck with that one game on that, right? This has a cartridge slot. So like, pretty. It's not horrible. I cannot find any information what the game's retailed for. I really tried. It just, there's not a lot of information about this thing out there. But yeah, their whole pitch was...
I'm seeing the Mortal Kombat one's expensive because I don't think they make it anymore.
Yeah, I could see that. And it's got 2, 3 Ultimate on it and 1. I don't know if the new one does or not. But that's the thing. So like you can buy a dedicated arcade cabinet, a reproduction is what these are.
$440.
For a fraction. But then that's the thing. If you go buy a real arcade cabinet, those fuckers are expensive, and you can't just, retail. You and me can't just go buy one at the time. You had to usually like lease them back then. Mm-hmm. People were like renting to own.
I know like some of those weren't for like normal sale. Like you had to be...
You had to have a license.
Yeah, you had to have some kind of like gambling back license.
Yeah, a lot of states treat it like gambling back then because you're entering a quarter. Mm-hmm. So
it wasn't like you can walk over to a department store and buy an arcade cabinet.
So like I'm not defending that outrageous price tag, but like I could kind of see in line their reasoning for pricing it so high, and it's new technology at the time. So kind of interesting there. I lost my spot. Here we go. So GCE, we talked about the video game crash a little bit. Initially, extremely strong sales for the Vectrex, to the point that Milton Bradley swooped in and was like, hey, we're going to buy this thing from you guys. And they were like, perfect, we wanted to license it anyway. So there's actually 2 models you can find out. You can find GCE models, which is the one I have. You'll see in the video. And then there's ones that have like Milton Bradley, the blue M, the red B on it. It's pretty cool looking. I know like overseas, a lot of them had the Milton Bradley. You'd see them more because they weren't able to distribute them overseas until Milton Bradley got involved. Like I saw a video where a dude had an Australian model and they literally just kept slapping the sticker over he had 3 stickers on the, what's it called? Like the serial number from different sales or whatever. And I did see a picture of the Japanese one. The light speed's so cool, dude. Like, I don't care. It's the coolest thing ever. But it's interesting that Milton Bradley got involved because you're probably thinking, like, what, the board game people? Yes, the board game people, Milton Bradley got involved. Again, we got to put ourselves in the time of when this thing came out, right? Video games were viewed as toys. It wasn't like this mass market entertainment thing that we have now. You gotta think, even like your favorite company, Nintendo, they started out making cards and toys. Like, this is what it was back then. This was the state of the industry. It's a long way from where we are now. It's definitely not video games viewed as art. You know what I mean? They were just straight up toys. And especially at the home level where it's like, oh, you're going to buy this thing, you're going to take it home, you're going to open it on Christmas or a holiday or whatever. It's exactly what it was. So if you think about it, it's not as crazy as a purchase for Milton Bradley. It's weird putting in like perspective now. Like, it would never fly now. Like, you're not going to hear, Hasbro's not going to start making leapfrogs again and shit. They did it already. They tried. It is kind of funny though when this happens, kind of seeing like my hobbies merge. Like, I'm a huge toy collector also, and seeing these companies get involved back then is pretty cool. But through modern lenses, it just makes sense for the time.
What's crazy to me is this was so, what's the word? It didn't last. And it has more games than like the Virtual Boy. Yeah. It has a good library. It's got a big library.
And you gotta think like the amount of games there. Most of them are kind of like arcade ports. You know what I mean? But pretty solid ones. They didn't go cheap on this thing. Milton Bradley actually kind of went all in because the sales were so strong initially. And that's why they're like, oh, why are we just talking about the US? Let's get it overseas. Let's get it over here. Especially Japan, like huge electronics market at the time. That was the electronics capital at the time.
Like, the fact that there's over 50 games for this is crazy.
Yeah. And, we'll talk about it a little later, but still coming to the homebrew community is insane for this thing. It's a super interesting console. The more you dig, very surface level, it's easy to sit there and call this thing a failure, right? But, when you even look at why it failed, we've already talked about how expensive it was. We already talked about...
I will say I think over 50 is also including the homebrew.
Yeah.
But anyways,
there's like con exclusives and stuff too that like, does it count? But hey,
it's just interesting. Especially considering it's quote unquote open source.
Yeah.
Or like you still can make it, and it's not like you're ripping carts and being like, oh, I'm just like making games for this thing, not being it. Like, the technology is like, the guy's like, hey man, you guys can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Right.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
So having official but unofficial homebrew Beluga Whale games. Beluga.
Oh, what, the Beluga Whale game's so bad, dude.
Belugia, like it's Pokemon.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point to bring up too. I was going to kind of talk about it after talking about the failure, but let's just do it now because you know what? We shouldn't focus on the negative around here, should we? It's not like, Milton Bradley lost $3.2 billion.
I don't have the hat on right now, okay?
It's not like Milton Bradley lost $3.2 billion or anything, so, But once it did...
But are they still a company?
They are.
Then they're fine.
Yeah, they ended up merging with Hasbro, of all companies.
Well, they're not fine.
It is funny, though. Like this, it wasn't the Vectrex fault, but just the industry itself. The collapse of it basically caused all these toy manufacturers who tried to get into the video game market to, like, merge and mix. And that's why the toy industry right now is kind of in the state of array that it is now, where basically all the licenses are the toy. If you guys know anything about toy licensing, so like a good example is the Marvel license, right? Like Hasbro is owned by Disney now, so obviously they get first dibs on Marvel, but they don't have exclusive Marvel toy license. They have articulated Marvel license. McFarlane's got like the non-articulated 7-inch But this is all fallout from the video game industry. Again, it's crazy how my hobbies combine.
I mean, like, at that point, they were fishing out any license they possibly could to get any money recoup.
Yep.
Because there was just nothing happening. So they were like, well, shit. I mean, that's what happened with LucasArts.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, there was that point, and especially in the 90s, where it was like, we need to do whatever we can to make money off of this. Fucking let anybody do whatever the fuck they want to it. That's fine. And clearly they pulled back super aggressively when they got taken. But same idea, especially in the 90s. Like, the 90s is a dunk for a lot of popular culture hobbies.
Yeah.
Comics, games,
God, comics.
movies.
Comics. Woo. But yeah, you can thank corporate greed and no oversight for the video games collapsing. But I mean, like, Nintendo kind of came in and saved the day, thankfully. Like, eternally grateful for that. I give them a lot of shit with their modern company, but back then, hey, they did their thing. Yeah, well, basically, the really cool thing, in my opinion, honestly, the most important thing about this console was, it's when Milton Bradley stopped manufacturing it, the rights actually reverted back to Smith Engineering, and, like, I'm sure most people were like, the fuck Smith Engineering, they're still around. Well, actually, yeah, they are. And they actually were going to be like, hey, we have the rights back. Let's do it right. We're trying to do things interesting. They were going to do a color version of the Vectrex. It never came to fruition. They were going to do a handheld, but then the Game Boy came out in 1990 and kind of stopped that. But Jay Smith, he's the guy that was tinkering with the 1-inch screen and was like the owner of it. He became the head engineer of Smith Engineering, surprise, in the 90s. And he basically was like, I want to make this thing open source. Like, any new hardware or software you make for it, we can either do it like on a fee or we can do royalties, but it's up to you. Like, I don't want to sit there and be the sole proprietor of this. Like, I want to keep the history of this thing going, which is, it's fucking awesome. Like, one of the main reasons why I collect physical media is because preservation is so important. Like, you can just see it every day getting further and further away. And for this guy to be like, hey, well, he's even done shit on like non-profit basis where someone's like, I have an idea for a game. What do you think about this? He'll be like, cool, yeah, do whatever you want. Like, non-profit. And he still owns it. He's still alive. He's old, but he's still alive. So it's pretty awesome. I don't know what's going to happen like after he passes, or I'm sure there's some sort of, there's got to be some paperwork somewhere that says what's going to happen. But I think it's really great, man. I think truly it's the lasting impact of this console, especially in today's lens. Like, imagine if, it's never going to happen because of who owns it. Like Sony or whatever was like, oh, hey, we can't do backwards comp for whatever reason, but everything PS4 on down is open source. Like, how game-changing would that be? Mm-hmm. It sucks. It's kind of like the Vectrex, but I mean, it's a step in the right direction, honestly. And it's not like they're going to port these things. There's not like you can't buy a new Vectrex. You can't buy an arcade one-up with every Vectrex game. He was even doing multi-carts at one point, so that's pretty cool. There's like multi-carts with Jay Smith Engineering on it, so it's really important. I think it's the most important thing about the Vectrex, honestly. Like, legacy, innovation, and all that's really interesting too, especially for how early this thing came out. But for me, preservation, like, goddamn, what a cool like ending to the history of the Vectrex, right? Well, now we got the boring history part out of the way. Let's go over some specs. Let's cover some features of the Vectrex. I think we start out with the screen, right? Like, that thing's just...
That's the big part of that's the Vectrex. That's what makes the Vectrex the Vectrex,
right.
To be honest.
It's easily the standout for this thing for me. Like, it's...
Like, without this screen, the Vectrex is just some other arcade game.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Like we said earlier, you get a 9-inch CRT. You see from the video, mine's horribly off-center, which is pretty great. There's all sorts of... this is something crazy we stumbled upon. Do you remember we were like... When we were sitting here playing this thing, we were looking at it, and people were like, oh, mine's off-centered. Like, what do I do to fix it? There's so many crazy articles on the internet of people, like, stretching their screen, moving the shit. Like,
yeah, I saw someone trying to stretch it out with clothespins.
Dude,
is that what it was?
Yeah, dude, that one I was like, there ain't no way. Like, they literally had, like, it's basically a plastic encasing over the screen, and they were, like, pinching the bottom of the screen to stretch it out. And like, yeah, just leave it on there for 2 or 3 days. No, I'm good, bro. This is like, 80s plastic. I'm not doing that at all. Sorry. It's not like you can just get a new screen if you fucking break it or whatever. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of crazy shit out there. I'm not going to do that. I'll just deal with it. Most of them are off-center. It's a pretty common thing. But yeah, the display on this thing is really what makes this console. And really, if you're watching our YouTube video, like this thing does no justice. It's going to be flickering like crazy because the shutter speed.
We did our best.
Dude, it's so funny though, because if you go look at any YouTube video for the Vectrex, the first thing they're like, apologies for the flicker. Like, it's just a thing
we tried to look up filming techniques to try and get rid of the flicker, but if you're hearing this right now, we didn't do it.
Sorry, I couldn't find a 1980s shoulder-mounted camcorder to because that's the shutter speed.
And a VCR or VHS to DVD converter.
Right. Yeah, it's tough, man. But I mean, truly seeing this thing in person, it's so cool, man. Like, even the only time this is the first time I've ever got to play with it. Like when I bought it, obviously I wanted to make sure it worked, so I tested it. Seeing some of these effects and shit in person's crazy looking, man. Like it's just so unique and different compared to everything else you've seen. Especially for the time. If you put it in the time, it's like, this is from the future. This is nuts. We also had something crazy happen when we first turned it on. So heads up, I'm going to spare all the other 3 Vectrex owners out there the major headache.
Brian about to have a heart attack.
Dude, so I remember we were setting it up and I was like, yeah, it works. I haven't turned it on in a long time. But like when I bought it, it was running, right? So we turn it on and the best way I can describe it, it looks like somebody took a nail and went ding, like right in the middle and the screen cracked.
The spider webbing, yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck? It was like a minute after it was on, too.
It wasn't necessarily screen cracking, but you could tell there was a super bright dot in the middle that was, and you could see the vector path laser that it was going to on points in the screen. So it would go from the center out into a point and then go back to the center, but the line that it was traveling would stay to everything.
Yeah.
So it was like a huge like starburst.
I had a full-on panic attack. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this is rude. We're going to
we
pick
were
something
furiously
else.
Googling.
But that's the thing. It's not like you can just go buy another Vectrex. Like if my NES breaks, I don't fucking care. There's a million of them out there. Like
it doesn't read games?
Yeah.
Swap the part out.
Sorry about you.
We make third-party ones.
Yeah, dude. So I was panicking a little bit. And then we found a Reddit thread. Like, thank you, Reddit, for once. They were like, let it warm up. Put it on low, let it warm up. So I was like, all right, let's just let it run for a little bit. Let's go upstairs and fucking eat something, come back down. And it's like, oh, thank God it works. But yeah, it was an experience. Like I had an outer body experience. Like, oh my God, my Vectrex. But we're good. It works. That being said, something you're going to notice that this console is in black and white. So all the games come with an overlay that you put into the screen to give it some sort of color. These might be one color, that might be
you put it on the screen. You don't put it inside of anything. Yeah. You kind of just the plastic around the frame, the plastic frame around the actual screen. There's these 2 super little like they're not even half moons. They're little pieces that are sticking out barely.
Yeah.
Barely for you to slide the underlay under so it'll hold the top and the bottom, and that's why you see so many are broken.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's because people are trying to shove them inside of there and snapping the overlays.
Yeah, one of mine has like tape on it. Like I bought it like that, but I mean, it's just a flimsy piece of plastic. But that's how you get your color on the screen. It would have been really cool to see that colored Vectrex come to fruition because I don't think it's as necessary.
I don't know how the fuck they would have done it, but okay.
Well, one of the accessories they tinkered with that came out. We'll get to that in a little bit, but it's pretty interesting, man. But yeah, the overlays are an interesting idea because there's been other games I can think for the Odyssey 2, it had overlays, but that's the thing. Everybody had different TV sizes, so like it's not as executed as well. The Vectrex was like, we know exactly what size the screen's going to be because it's built into the console. And I think really cool, something to do with the overlays, is it had the controls on the bottom right of the screen. Mm-hmm. Every single one has the controls. Yeah, we're not talking about a crazy, 16-button controller, but it's still an interesting idea where it's like, how do I play it? Let me look to the right. Oh, cool, there's my controls. Speaking of the controller, what'd you think of the controller, bro?
It was a fight pad, is what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a controller.
Yeah.
It was a children's fight pad.
Yeah, so my first observation with the controller is where it's stored is really interesting. So basically underneath the screen, there's like a square that like, it's a cubby hole. It's got a little tab you pull down and you can literally just pull the controller out of the unit. And it's interesting. Pulled it out and I was like, oh my God, this thing's fucking huge. The Duke ain't got shit on this thing. Like it is enormous. It's a freaking brick. It's got a joystick on it. It's got 4 buttons labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very much of like, if you think of an arcade countertop, like that's what it is. It's an arcade pad. That's exactly what it is. It's not really a controller, but it does have like the 6-hole port, kind of like a Genesis controller, and it does plug right into the console. There's a 2-player option, so there's ports for 2 controllers. I do think that the joystick is really interesting. It's self-centering, which is something that Atari struggled with. They always had to drift and stuff with their controllers, or they would just be really stiff, or it'd be the inverse. So this thing, you'll flick it around and it'll go right back to the middle, which is pretty cool. They didn't have to do that. The 4-button layout's nice. If you think about an Atari, a Collecti-Bros, you get 1 button. This thing stands out because it's got 4. And sometimes, you don't use every button for every game, but hey, some of these do, and it's there. Another freak out moment I had with this controller. At first, when we plugged it in, it was like not responsive, and I was like, "Oh, I've heard these controllers kind of are pieces of shit. They don't last." But I pulled it out, cleaned it up, and it ended up working great. It's something that if you guys do end up finding one, like you're not going to find the controllers by themselves. They sell them, but like they're ungodly rare. Check the thumbstick and make sure it's not. If it's self-centered, it's going to be fine. But one of the big issues they have is where eventually the spring gives out and it does get limpy. My biggest thing with the controller is like preference, right? So I was sitting there holding it like it's a modern controller, but I think the intent was they want you to set it down on the tabletop and play it like a. I couldn't do that, man. For me,
an arcade cabinet,
right? Yeah, for me, it was much more comfortable to just put my thumb on top of it and use my thumb like a modern control scheme. But everyone's kind of each their own. It is huge. Like it's not easy to hold, and stretching from 4 to 1.
I had to crab claw.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had to crab claw.
Scramble. Yeah.
Yeah, and like our hands are the same size, which is crazy. And like my thumb can't, like the way I was holding it, my thumb was literally not big enough to stretch all the way across to hit the other buttons.
So
I had to crab claw so my finger could have access to 1 and 2, and my thumb could have access to 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So I was like, Jesus.
It's definitely a voyage from getting button 1 to button 4. Like it's a path. But for me, just sitting there and holding the thumbstick for pole position, I think was the one that was like, you had to make pretty precise turns and stuff. And I was like, this is way easier instead of trying to pinch this little stick and then jiggle it around. So extra controllers, we already talked about, they're pretty rare. I mean, just finding the controller by itself is going to be about $200. So not the most collectible friendly console ever. And you're looking at $400 to $500 if you want a box with that. So good luck to everybody looking for an extra Vectrex controller. I think it's easier just to be like, oh, so it's a 2-player and pass the stick back and forth. That's what we did. I'm not a audio engineer guy at all, but for the sound, I don't want to sit here and shit on this thing, but it's of the times, right? You're thinking Atari beep boops, beep boop boop beep boop. It's not a lot to it, man. I will say we were playing games and we had music coming out. It was like, oh shit, there's music. Like that, it was jarring whenever there was music. I think it was Scramble, right? That had like the actual arcade intro.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Scramble. Because basically the chip that this thing used, it used an arcade chip for the sound. If you guys ever played 1942 Burger Time, Scramble, that's why Scramble sounded the best, because it used the same chip as Scramble. Okay. That makes a lot more sense now. But yeah, so they tried to actually, again, incorporate those arcade elements to this thing to make it sound like an arcade too, which is pretty cool. Some home consoles that use the same chip, Atari ST, which is a computer, so that doesn't count. The Intellivision. So that's what it sounds at the time. It's honestly, for me, whenever I take a backseat, obviously the graphics are like the first thing you notice. This console, not so much, because it was so different. The sound for me is what was kind of like, man, this thing is a dinosaur.
It's dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was more so of the game development or if they chose not to put music in, because I think Pole Position had music.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones were just, not Pole Position did not have music.
I think it had music. It just wasn't the arcade.
The one
music.
where you fly around and drop the fucking bombs.
Scramble.
Scramble.
Yeah.
Scramble had the music. Pole Position was just the fucking car.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So it was just the noise of the car driving rather than like having anything extra.
Right.
So who's to say if during development they were like, we're prioritizing the graphics functioning and we don't have enough room for music and we only have enough room for sound effects. Maybe there's not information on that. So
yeah, I cannot find a lot. The only thing it's a product of its time, man. Like
It is hard to really kind of understand like the hardware of that time, of the cartridge that you're actually sliding into this thing and how much space is on there.
Yeah.
You know, because we're used to how things function on a gigabyte and a TB. What am I thinking of? Terabyte. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We're used to thinking on gigabyte, terabyte, and higher, especially in some fields. But back then, like one cartridge was megabytes at best.
Right.
At best, and that was like a lot.
We're talking
of
single
room.
digit too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like put yourself, because a lot of times when we try and play things of the time, like the Vectrex, or if we were going to try and play like Dracula X because it's Super Nintendo, like we try to place ourselves like in that time period,
right,
instead of expecting quality of life of 2025, right? But it is really hard to put yourself down in there and understanding how difficult it was to cram everything on side of this cart.
Yeah.
Because our ability to recognize space is so much different.
Yeah.
Like I've never, I mean, we were alive when floppies were a thing.
Right.
Like I remember like writing to floppies and having a box of like pictures, and you can only fit so many on a fucking floppy.
Right. I also remember getting DOS games that were on, 8 floppy disk.
Yeah.
So like there were still options back then to be like, oh yeah, it's expandable memory, sure, whatever.
Right. And that's definitely more like PC, where it's expandable. Right. Like you can be like, oh, the computer, like the operating system and computer hardware itself is running separately, and it's asking you like, okay, put the next one in, put the next one in, put the next one in, like CD did in PS1. Right. But this is a cartridge. Like you can't just pull the cartridge out and put another one in. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The whole thing turns off.
It's so crazy that, the EverDrives and stuff, it's not like, other EverDrives you'll see, it's like an SD card you slide in. Mm-hmm. This is literally just on the disc.
Yep.
So all the games can fit on one thing. Everything ever released for this can fit on one actual.
It's literally a super tiny memory card with no space. So something like the Vectrex, I would imagine a dev would prioritize porting the graphics in order for it to work properly on this technology.
Yeah, you'd have to.
And then put the music on the wayside here.
Right.
That's like, if we can get it to work, then we'll try and slide some more shit in there.
And that's the thing too. A lot of these arcade ports, they play great. They run well. It's like, if we have to sacrifice the music,
it runs fantastic.
Yeah. That's the thing though. Like we were talking about, like think about Asteroids. Like if you've ever seen Asteroids on 2600, it looks like dog shit. Like, would you rather play this that actually looks and sounds like Asteroids, or would you rather play?
I mean, that is the benefit.
I think that swears the ship.
It's the benefit of like having a system and having a screen that doesn't read, from top down. It's not going to tear the corners as soon as the asteroid ship turns. Like there is no frame rate that it's suffering from.
Right.
So I guess the equivalent at the time, like it's going to be running at like quote 60 frames a second, because that's just how fast the vector can work.
Right.
There's definitely limitations to it, but as far as like how smooth it actually moves, that's where we're at now. It's just the technology can't do anything else except draw a line to a dot.
Right. Yeah, man. This is literally Generation 2 console, just for a reminder out there. So, this thing is just like, holy shit, it's a Ferrari for Generation 2. Like, it's nuts. It is funny, though, because, like, it's so futuristic looking. Like, the thing I thought of was, like, Alien, when they're typing on the computers. That's what it looks like. It's green and Alien. But, like, it's this futuristic console, but it's still got, like, knobs and like a big reset button on it. It's got like all the 80s technology on it, but it's also futuristic. It's funny to me.
It's so funny thinking about it sometimes, like existing like as how old we are, right? Where we kind of were born in the middle of, we got to experience the old and we're experiencing the new all kind of simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like obviously I wasn't alive when the Atari was a thing, but like we grew up in the time period where our parents were exposed to that, and that's how it was introduced into our home. But now we've got groups of people who are born, like people our age, right, are having kids who are only getting exposed to like maybe PS2. Like they're not being like, well, kids, here's what an Atari is, because this is what I had growing up. Like what we had growing up is what these kids have growing up. So a lot of them, especially young people who are having kids right now, they ain't never seen a cassette tape. They've never seen a floppy disk. They've never seen a VHS ever. And they're like, what is this?
Right.
So now thinking of like how we're describing knowing how an Atari operates and then seeing how a Vectrex operate and us understanding like why technologically that's so impressive.
Yeah.
To someone maybe in 20 years doing the same thing and being like, what the fuck is this stuff?
It is interesting.
That's like imagining being like, you mean you guys had to like pedal to get your car to move? Like, you know, like I guess I had a bike, so I sort of understand that concept. It's just kind of like steam power? Right. What do you mean?
What? Water? It's funny because like my parents were, you know, a little older when they had Nate and I, and we grew up on the Atari and stuff. So to me, it's like, it seems normal, but talking to people, it's like, I'm the only person I know that collects this shit. I'm the only person I know that gives a fuck about, you know, who do you know anybody else that has multiple first and second generation consoles? Like, I don't.
Right.
My age, like, sure, there's a couple older people.
Your age, no. Yeah. That's the difference where it's interesting to like understand when you say the Vectrex was the Ferrari, to go up to a kid who's probably like 12 and be like, let me convince you that this thing is the Ferrari of the second gen video games. They'd be like, what the hell are you on?
I think it's important though. And
they'd be like, but does it play Fortnite? Yeah. Like, I don't know, dude.
I know, bro. It plays Fort.
At night.
It is. It is interesting though. Like, this is why, you know, that's why I picked this. It's one of the main reasons. Like, this is kind of important. It tried new things. It's important for preservation. It's why I picked. It's wacky. It's weird. You know, there's not going to be very many of these things. Once these things are dead, they're dead. Yeah. Like I said, we're not going to get a plug-in Vectrex ever. We're not going to get a MIDI console Vectrex ever. So.
There's not any nostalgia for something like this in order for them to make a plug and play. Like, we got the NES Classic because there's nostalgia for those Nintendo products, but like us getting, I guess the quote, Atari 2600 Classic is still like such a stretch. Such a stretch.
Well, that's the thing. They've made so many of them, you know, 10 years ago. Nowadays, it's like, there's options.
Yep.
You know, there is never going to be a Vectrex. No. And that's the thing. It's open source. So like maybe somebody will, you know, make them at home, but I doubt it. It's the people that give a shit, like we we're just talking about, they're depleting.
No one's gonna homegrown Fallout build a Vectrex in their garage.
Be super sick if you did, but it just ain't gonna happen. All right, let's cover some games really quick and let's wrap this thing up, because this is probably the oldest. Like you're not, just to like cover our bases. Like, I've played this old shit, I collect this old shit, but you don't. So I kind of want to get your perspective on like the games, and I don't know how familiar you are.
I played Asteroids in my dentist's office.
It's awesome. You talked about it before.
They had a flat arcade cabinet.
Tabletop, nice.
Yeah, where you could sit on one side and someone could sit on the other, and you both could play Asteroids. Sick. So I like played Asteroids as a kid. My mom liked Asteroids. My mom liked Centipede.
Yeah, my mom.
So I have some exposure to some of the arcade stuff that way.
Yeah. Did you feel like this was a good like conversion to bring it home? Like, if you're, because the thing, like, now we're spoiled. You can just literally buy a $200 fucking $300 Centipede cabinet. But like, could you imagine putting yourself back then? You know, maybe you only got to play it at Pizza Hut. Maybe you only got to play it at the dentist office. Do you think the Vectrex did a good job of like converting some of these arcade games over to like a home version?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it and being like, it did a good job, but in comparison to something like the Atari 2600, like, why would I get the Vectrex over that one?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about cost, I'm pretty sure it costs more than the Atari.
Oh, yeah.
Was it... Atari 2600 was second gen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of comparing them as, like, which one would I buy?
Right.
Like, the Atari... It's probably cheaper.
The games were definitely cheaper too.
I guess if you didn't have a TV, like maybe
the
Vectrex is cool, but you still can't do anything else with that screen. Like, it's not like I can also watch the news.
That would be sick if you can use it like an actual CRT.
Like an actual antenna.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
God, that would have been so cool.
So it doesn't have the versatility that the price demands, you know? So I probably already have a TV, so I'm going to buy the Atari 2600 and I can get all of those multi-cart games and it still kind of function properly. Do I think this looks prettier? Yes. I think the Vectrex looks prettier.
It looks incredible.
The Atari looks like the fucking Atari. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Ease of access, the Atari has, it's more accessible. In relation of bringing the arcade home, like, it's more accessible in the way that the Vectrex is not. I think the Vectrex is a very high-end piece for people at that time. That's why it didn't sell very well. You weren't inclined to buy a Vectrex unless you already had all this other stuff. Like, the thing of, like, if both are sitting on the table, which one I'm going to buy, it's not the Vectrex, especially for that price.
Yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow when I bought mine, but I was like, when am I going to see another one?
But that's also different. Like, you're asking just a normal family
Right.
of 4, right? Let's ask a normal family, the what is it, Atomic Family is what they call it.
Yeah.
See which one they're going to buy. And this is before the Nintendo comes out. Like,
Right.
which one are you going to invest into? It's not the Vectrex. The
Yeah, it was
Vectrex is
either-
for the people who are, like, probably into that technology, into that field, like, really, you know, I don't want to say single in your mom's basement, but you know, it's for
That's a good job.
it's for a very specific kind of person, not just the normal
average consumer.
average consumer.
For
Yeah.
sure. And that's why the Atari sold so well, because like it was
Yes.
accessible. You could go get a different version of the Atari from Lowe's. Had their own fucking Ataris for fuck's sake, and like Lowe's was basically the Walmart of the day back then. But you know what? Some of these games on this thing, man, are really great arcade ports. Like Pole Position, it's I grew up playing the 2600 version, so to see this on this thing was like pretty cool. It's way more faithful to the arcade version than the 2600. But even like you get a pack-in game with this thing too. It's Mindstorm, but it's pretty much Asteroids. I mean, they can't call it Asteroids, but it's Asteroids. It was a great pack-in game. It's fun. There's a bunch of really crazy shit with that game too. Basically, it glitches out at the 13th level. So if you ended up writing them a telegram, because that's how long ago we're talking, that like, hey, I need a fix, they would send you a cart that said Mindstorm 2, and it had the correct fixes on there. That fucker's really expensive. Tough to get. We're talking about $3,000 for just the cart and about $7,000 for a complete box copy. You don't see them ever. One popped up on eBay last year and it sold for $7,000. So yeah, it's insane. Just collecting for this thing is an absolute nightmare as far as the price and collectability goes. I mean, you can find some cheap. Like I bought Star Trek, right? Because I love Star Trek. Like it was like, hey, we're both Star Trek fans. Like let's play Star Trek. It was like, I think $35-$40 complete in box, which is not horrible.
I think you said it was like 40 when you paid it all out.
It's not horrible, but like it's an outlier for sure. Most of these games are a cheap ass Vectrex games around $150 to $200 complete in box. So it's really hard to collect for. There's not a lot of games for it, which I mean, like cool, but you're also looking at shit like the most expensive game, Mr. Boston, which it's basically this liquor company, the Boston Liquor Company, ran out this game and they like made their own overlay for it. It's based off an existing game called Clean Sweep, which is a Pac-Man clone. You play as a vacuum cleaner instead of a Pac-Man. But so far, only 4 copies of Mr. Boston have popped up. One sold for $3,400 cash with the Bandai Vectrex, but that was quite a bit ago. This is all according to VectrexMuseum.com, which is a great resource, by the way. One copy sold with an overlay in 2013 for $1,500, and then another for $3,600 in 2011. Price charting said that there was a private sale that's for $7,200 in 2010, and then on eBay last year, one sold for $7,100, but I cannot get the listing to pull up. It kept saying error because I wanted to see if it had the overlay and stuff. I'm assuming it did for that price. But yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Like, there's actually, if you use the Game Eye app, they have the picture of the actual box, so you can see the box in the Game Eye app. It's pretty cool, man. Again, insanity. I think there's a YouTube video of a guy buying one, so you can go out there and watch that.
I mean, just to wrap through a couple more, like, you got the light pen. We didn't really touch on the light pen or the 3D goggles, but you've got something like Art Master, Melody Master, and Animaction that use the light pen.
Yeah.
I think is very...
you could draw on the screen.
Yeah,
it's
you
fucking
could draw
cool.
on the screen. So I just think, me personally, the eye strain that I didn't have.
Oh my God.
Having the white lines on the background is so ideal.
Yeah.
So I liked this console a lot. I wouldn't buy one. It's not something that I would ever want to own.
What are they going for like nowadays?
Probably, I don't know, $1,000.
You look.
Functioning. Not something that I would want to own. I think it's a very cool piece that you could probably like, if someone had like experienced what it is, if you know someone who has a Vectrex, ask them like, hey, can I come over and can we crack it open one time just so you can experience it?
Right.
It's super worth the experience.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing. Like you don't care about this kind of shit for the most part. But I saw you laughing, having fun, smiling, and I'm like, hey, one of my collecting goals has always been like, I'm gonna find an Atari 2600 game that Barry likes, and I don't think it's ever gonna happen. This is the closest I'm ever gonna get to that. Because like the tank game, you were having a blast with that, and you were better at me at it, and just seeing you be like, oh, get your fucking talking shit. Like it was fun, man. That was pretty rewarding for me. But yeah, Vectrex says they're going around $1,000 complete in box and about 500 loose. So good luck getting one. And that's the thing, I don't see them very often. I've seen two. I've seen one at the box. I didn't buy it because I already had mine. And
To
I
be
bought.
fair, I'd buy a Vectrex for a Switch too.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's gonna retain. They don't pop
Yeah.
up, man. Like, again, we've talked about it. They're not gonna make any more of them. I wanted to touch on the 3D thing really quick. I know we're crunching for time, but that's how they're gonna do the color. So basically, this is the first 3D accessory for a console ever. It was this big fucking goggles thing you put on, and
They were crazy looking. Yeah.
and it had a spinning disc that had blue, red, and green and black. It was like a quarter, half of the disc that spun was black, and the rest of it was like.
Do you know how many eye doctor appointments they probably would have to have after that?
Imagine.
That thing sounds.
So there's
crazy.
people on YouTube like trying to record it, and they're holding the fucking lens with like the lens off, and the disc spin. It goes so fast you can hear it. It's like
it's a
spinning in your face, but that's how they were going to do the color basically.
That's crazy.
So the black blocks out one of your eyes while the color disc spins in front of your eye, and that's how you get the color. So that's how they're going to do the color Vectrex. They're going to put those spinning disc in the screen and have it spin.
So you can only see it with one eye.
Yeah. It was like pseudo 3D. You know how they have like the red and green, or like the red and blue lenses,
yeah.
and literally it's like the black shades it, and that's what makes it look 3D. It was kind of like that. It was just earlier technology where it disc spun, 60 miles per hour in front of your face. But yeah, you can hear it in the goggles. Like, the videos are crazy watching people on YouTube, and then trying to record it with a camera, it's almost impossible. But that's how they're going to do the color Vectrex. But my lasting impact with the Vectrex is, I mean, innovative, trying new things, especially for the time, especially now. Like, we don't have, I hate to say it, man. Like, this, especially this console generation, even like Nintendo, who's known for innovation, look at the Switch 2, bro. It's just a souped up Switch. The innovation's like gone from the industry. They kind of revisit something like this where it's like, it's bread and butter. Let's just try everything different. Let's go against the grain. It's awesome. So that's a huge piece for me. And then the lasting impact, I think, just, going forward and putting it through modern perspective is open source. Like, it's such a cool thing. No one's ever going to follow suit, unfortunately, but man, it'd be cool if they did. Like, imagine if, Sega's still around, I guess, but ColecoVision, they probably sold to somebody owns the rights as a thing. That's where it gets complicated. There's so much money now. Back then it was just like, you know what? Hey, it's a fucking kid's game. It's a toy.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want with it. I don't care. It's not viewed like that anymore, but I mean, shit was fun, bro. I had more fun. I would rather play this any day of the week than the Atari 2600. And like, I'm an Atari fan, but like somebody that doesn't usually enjoy this kind of shit, seeing you laugh and smile and have fun was pretty rewarding, man. Like, this was a pretty fun experience. I'm glad I picked this thing. Do I recommend you going out and buying one? It's pretty pricey, man. I would say if you're a hardcore collector and you need every console, like, okay, cool, you got to pay the toll. But I would rather play this instead of my Atari every day of the week. I'll tell you that right now. Or the ColecoVision or the Odyssey 2. Like, everything that came out during that era, give me the Vectrex every day of the week.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by this because I thought it was going to be like, what, this thing costs so much? There's no fucking way. I thought there was going to be a lot of negatives I was going to say about it, even though I own one. But like, I got a really good deal on mine. Okay, let's just clarify. I was able to bundle this with a Jaguar in the box at the same time and, spend under $700. So like, I'm not tripping, bro. This was also a while ago, 5 or 6 years ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm happy to own one. I'm glad I own one. Like, it's a lot of fun. I had a blast playing this thing, honestly. Like, super glad I got to do this.
Yeah, after we stopped freaking out about it being broken.
Yeah,
dude. Great time.
What a roller coaster. So what do you guys think? You guys interested in the Vectrex? Let us know in the comments down below. Hey, Brian, what's next?
Hey, Brian, what's next?
Next game, is it worth it? Is another weird and innovative, different kind of thing. It's just, we're going 2 for 2 here. Seaman on the Dreamcast. Talking about fish. Guess what? You get to play with more fish. But yeah, this is a super weird game. It totally fits my collection also. We both got copies last year, right? Yeah. So I was like, as soon as you got yours, I was like, oh, I hope you pick this. And as soon as I got mine, I'm like, all right, I'm definitely picking this for the podcast because it's crazy. Learning more Star Trek. Let's go. So exciting stuff here at the Collecti-Bros podcast. Again, please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps us out. And we will see you guys next time. Enjoy. Goodbye. Arrivederci. Adios. Break that ceiling. Batman Beyond. Ching. Out.
What was the other thing we were going to add on to it?
Ooh, there was something, wasn't there? I'm off the caffeine. Next time.
Bye.